So, hello there and welcome to another practicing session here at the clavichord as we did last weeks in the clavichord sessions. So on Thursday 7:30 p.m. here, pre-recorded sessions, so they are released as a premiere on YouTube. We went quite in detail through the Righini variations. So there's one of the largest set of variations actually Beethoven wrote. 24 variations, 70-90. We went in 3 sessions through the fingering, then 2 sessions practicing, and I can promise you we will need some more sessions to go through these variations. Also because I have, as we speak, very little time to play the clavichord, which is of course something that's unforgivable. But we have the Fritz here now, which needs a lot of my attention, tuning, playing on it, just making small remarks for you is that we can adjust the piano and just bring it where we want to have it. There is a Frenzel, of course, that needs to be at a performance level, so to say. Always keep the tuning a little bit in place, which is difficult because the Frenzel is a difficult instrument to tune. And with all the work I have around, well, going on in my life right now, there's sometimes just a little time for the clavichord, so I miss the instrument really a lot. And if it wasn't for these practicing sessions, I wonder how much clavichord I would be playing right now, which is something I cannot allow myself to do because the clavichord is the instrument to go to if you play 18th, 19th century music. Even I think if you would play Chopin, maybe that's a little bit late, but still the clavichord, it actually is an instrument that should be in the life of every musician dealing with at least music till Beethoven. But that's a little bit my story. So the Righini variations, we will dealing with those for a few more sessions, I think, and it's thanks to these practicing sessions that we go through them completely. What I'm going to do for next practicing sessions here at the clavichord as well is try to make the sessions a little bit shorter, so have a 40-45 minute range as a maximum. And so perhaps even allowing myself during one day to pre-record 2 sessions, which would be actually great also for you, not having to sit through these long hour sessions. At the Frenzel, at the pianoforte on Monday, it's a little bit different because that's live and it's always unpredictable how those sessions go. So, before we start, if you want to attend these YouTube premieres of their YouTube live streams when they are released or when they are broadcasted live, no better way than to subscribe and hit the bell notification. So setting your notifications is really required if you want to get notified or want to receive a notification from YouTube. And it's really awesome to be here while these sessions are released as a premiere or while they are live streamed, because they're the authentic sound community is coming together in the chat. And on Thursdays, if I have time, I'm hanging out with you in the chat as well, which is actually a cool feature. Okay, not too much talking, working today. 108 is our tempo. I'm going through the variations we did last week again, see how they work, and again, it's all fresh for me. And there are some pretty tricky things in these variations. So just check the tempo that's given by Czerny here, 108. It's a magical tempo actually. 108 he uses also for many of his etudes in the Opus 299, number 1 to 10, and 104, 108. We just went the minuet of the first sonata. Actually, in single beat is also 108 if you recalculate the tactus inequalis, and then the last part is there also 108. So a lot of 108s in my life as we speak. But that's a total coincidence, I think. Apart from the fact that 108, if you recalculate that in single beat, is kind of 45. 54 is related to 60 tempo ordinario. There we go. Not too much talking today. Forte piano, a little bit better. And I will try here also not to look on my hands. It's a habit. It will be an awkward feeling, I guess. Forte. Piano. Oops. Like that effect actually. So we have the 8th note, ja, bam. So giving an accent actually on the second 8th notes, which is ta, ja, ta, ja. And it actually indicates that as well because the chord is actually, so the is given on the second 8th note. So that's a strong tempo indicator here. So 2/4 often is in 4/8. Not going detail here. So it's not always the case, but in that time, yes. So 4/8 is slowing down the tempo because your harmonic progression is slower. This is not a typical notation that you would think of, 4/8, but here he indicates that by giving this counter accent, and you know, you have tons of gradations from a 2/4 in quarter notes to a 4/8. So there is a whole line of possibilities, of course, but having the strong accent on the second 8th note, it's a strong indicator for that. Yeah, you wouldn't think of that at the beginning, and it's not so much because here you have a clear pulse on the quarter note. So it's not that if you have this second 8th note accentuation that you have to slow down really to think in 8 note structure or tempo related. As I say, you have tons of possibilities. Let's not go into detail here, but just accept the fact here for myself that this accent, I should have known. Of course, it's on the second 8th note because it gives this chord. Still, the first note needs to be clear. Little stronger accent on the second 8th note. Much better now. You have actually the wrong accent here. I hear so many birds, I think the window is still open there. Well, let them sing. Actually, Anya was coming in the house, that was the thing. Yeah, and then wait a little bit. Dum, 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 dum. It's a little bit of a surprise. It's actually with a lot of humor. Dum, dum. So the second eighth note shouldn't come really spot on time as a computer would do. It's a little bit late. Not too much, because if it's too much, it's boring. But if it's just a little bit, your expectation is to get this chord and then you don't get it. And it's you get it just a tiny little second, 1/1000th of a second later. And that gives the, we feel it as humor, I think. There's an expectation and there is a second. The expectation is fulfilled only 1/1000th of a second after that. Sounds ridiculous, but I think it works like that. Dum, dum, dum. You see how much better this is? It's not yet completely imbalanced, but that's the direction. And see also, I'm happy for the clavichord as a choice for these kind of pieces, because they give the clavichord, of course, you can give this accent full range. You don't have to hold back for giving those accents as you certainly would do on the piano, because I would overpower suddenly everything, even on I should be careful here, on not to leave fingerprints, but on a period piano like that. And I think also on even an earlier one, 1790s, really early in pianoforte world. So interesting. Okay, let's move to the next variation. That's a tricky one. Let's see what I remember of what we practiced last week. So there will be fun, I think, to see how this works out. Okay, let's just try. It's okay, actually. Okay, let's see what was. That's a G. Do it again. So this was quite okay, but I didn't feel quite at ease yet. So I should be able to let the reading of the notes go a little bit, so that I'm not have to read the notes as carefully as I'm reading now. So that margin I don't have yet, but that will come. That's just a matter of time. So a mistake like that is just because I gave myself a little bit too much freedom in reading the notes. So what will happen now is just that I will remember the music better, so the auditive memory is stepping in way more if time progresses and you know the piece better. And then also your motorical feeling will step in, so your motorical memory. For that reason, making fingerings, regardless if you do it in kind of historical way, it's difficult. I mean, nobody really knows, but anyway, you know what I mean, or just in a modern way, it doesn't matter. But that you stick to that fingering, because it allows your motorical memory to step in once you are across this first reading, chapter, I would say, of your practicing process. And I was allowing myself a little bit too much freedom of my reading. How would I say that? To allow my reading to read the notes and to just allow my motorical memory and auditive memory to step in and just take over. So I didn't see that note coming. That was the thing. So it's not too much of a problem. That will be okay. This variation in a few days. And always go back to a slower practicing, even regardless of tempo that you have at the end. Always allow your eyes to check and double check, because that when you're playing or performing, or just for yourself, it's actually the same thing, because we all want to be able to play that piece from the beginning till the end without any rupture, you know what I mean. So it's important then when things happen during the performance that your eyes are able to recognize the notes in a very detailed way. So if you memorize the piece, of course, that's something else. Then you have to keep in mind certain other things, and we might talk about it in the future. I'm not playing a lot from memory, but I want to insert that in my daily practice a little bit more than I'm doing. So maybe thinking about it and sharing that with you. A lot of you have asked me to give tips for memorizing music, but that's another thing. But if you read music while you play, you should allow your eyes to step in any moment. So something happens immediately, you're reading the notes as if you're practicing, and that's very important. And so to allow that is just practice often slow, to allow that process to happen while practicing. Okay. Actually okay, the trills are okay, but I want to hear the left hand a little bit more. Okay, fifth variation. original Beethoven. Now with the right notes. Okay, I like also the first note of the triple. There's a little bit of inégalité, huh? So, and equality, I would say. So, if you would write this out, you would end like almost like a French inégalité, and I think there is a connection between that time of period of style of playing and more or less the inégalité in France, where actually where they have, if you have 4/8 notes, if you don't know what I'm talking about, so the French would play the tom ta tom ta tom, so they have actually 3 times to do that. But that's very, that you know, that kind of inégalité, as they call it, that's very close to just making accents in an agogic, we say agogisch in Dutch, so agogic way. I have no idea how to translate that in English. So to have this accent, so you can play equal notes while still making the first longer, and that's, I don't know, that's something I really would dive more. And if you have time to read the notes that Beethoven gave, actually Schindler wrote them down at the Kramer Etudes. So I made these recordings of the 21 Kramer Etudes from his own score. And it's a pity that only those 21 are published, because those are signed by Beethoven, and the others where Schindler also apparently has made made notes for, apparently just noting down what Beethoven was saying to his nephew while teaching, but those are not signed by Beethoven. So we still live in a time where Schindler is considered to be a forger for Beethoven's legacy, which is, I think, so stupid. But we'll make some videos on that. But anyway, those are not published, only the 21. But if you go through them, it's really mind-blowing to see how Beethoven actually talks about inégalité, as a French. So really saying, hold these notes, make these notes longer than written. And if you would apply that system to his music, that would be something new. But there is a lot to think about. I'm not ready with this, but I'm thinking on that a lot actually. So that's for later. Let me just take care of the camera now. There we are again. So 6th variation. Always checking the tempo just to make me comfortable, in the sense that I don't have to think about the movement yet. It'll come. I'll connect the movement with a kind of color, kind of character, and then we'll rarely miss it. But it's always good to check. Always good to check. You're speeding up, slowing down, everything can happen. Nice variation. Okay, then the variation with the French overture style. Chom, chom. Still, it remains. Okay. Difficult. So, no, it's an E. Okay, okay. I thought it was C sharp in the bass, but that's not the case. Okay. No, again. There's this little canon feeling. So these motifs are being repeated in all voices, and that's of course the fun of this variation. I mean, apart from this effect of the overture style. Also with a heavy accent on the second beat. Like, chom, chom. The entrance here. I want to hear more. Left hand. Right hand. Left hand now. It's nice this ending. So it's he treats this really as a canon. Okay, then number 8. I was thinking on some ornamentation. Let's not do it. strong accent on the second with da 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 da. Also here, so you have E, D, C sharp, E, but the C sharp is actually doubled, so written as a 16th and an 8th note simultaneously. So actually to give the player the indication that you have to accentuate it to. Also that is a tempo indicator. It has not the real effect if you play it twice as fast. Okay, and then to conclude this session, where we actually only repeated last session, but see what, yes, it's time consuming, these variations. This is a difficult one. Happy enough with this. So this needs to develop a little bit, these thirds, that I can trust myself following the fingering, because that I'm reading the fingering now while I am playing, because I don't want to mess here with my fingering. So once that settles a little bit, I can take a little bit of distance, and then you can play these thirds with a little bit increase of tempo. So and that will be a great effect. Okay. Yeah, that was it for this session. I will be recording probably today or tomorrow, I don't know. Leave the equipment here as it is, because I want to continue with the Righini variations, but take a little bit of a rest now, and then the next session, whenever it will be recorded, we will continue with variation 10, 11, 12, and we'll see how far we come. There's a beautiful adagio here that we have to work on. Some weird, strange chords, octave variations, beautiful, and really looking forward to getting to know this piece really in depth. So that's for next session. As for now, thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out here in the chat. That's, if you're watching this live as a premiere on YouTube, that's always cool. And also thank you to my patrons who make this possible. If you have never heard of our Patreon page, there's a link below and in the description box. Would really appreciate you checking that out. We have also monthly hangouts with our patrons, those are always cool sessions with a lot of expertise actually brought to the table, a lot of questions, thoughts and ideas, and I really enjoy these sessions a lot. So if that's something for you, thank you for checking that out. And for now, see you soon again.